Video game final boss. You took everything from me. Me who skipped all the cutscenes. I don't even know who you are. You see, that's definitely not me. I can't skip a single cutscene. I have to read all the dialogue. Yeah, no, video games, I like the lore, so I'll read everything. I'll know exactly who you are. But there's a pretty good chance that you won't remember me by the time I actually get to you. So, it's a little bit of a mixed bag of nuts there. Welcome to heaven. To enter, you must be forgiven by everyone you killed. Well, I never killed anyone, so... Video games included. Dark Souls players. Hey, they killed me far more times than I ever killed them. They should be apologizing to me for the number of times that literally every single enemy in that game killed me. Right? Multiple times. Most of them I only killed once. Well, most of the bosses. I only killed once. Maybe there are a few mobs to apologize to. But, yeah, no. There's a little bit of give and take here, okay? Mom, call your friends so you can go have some fun. My friends. Yeah. Well, as one who watches many game reviews, I know that this means manipulative, controlling, or to some extent domineering. So yeah, that fits somewhat. Unless he's talking about the fact that these guys are his friends, as in the video games are his friends, and that would also make sense. You know, I remember when I was a kid and I went into this one mall, and in the mall they had a sign that said, "Oh, that's so gamer guy that has more games than he has friends." And I mean, I wasn't even insulted by that. Like, I absolutely have far more games than I do have friends. So yeah, I played this game before. Yup. I played it 10 times. Yes. I know everything about it. Makes sense. Then don't give me a tutorial. Would you like to learn how to play the game? Yeah. Okay, don't make fun of my Patrick voice. But, yeah, no, this happens all the time. All the time. You have these unskippable tutorials. What is it with the unskippable tutorials? And especially because the game absolutely knows that you played it more than once. The game knows that you beat it. A lot of times they give you these little stars that go on the screen that's like, oh, this guy beat this thing. You shouldn't have to play tutorials if you already beat the game. Right? Just my personal opinion here. But yeah, take it up, devs. Like, I want to see this actioned soon. Alright? Me trying to work out how to fix my life. Me trying out the best character build in a video game. This is somewhat true. I mean, I usually go kind of like half-cocked. You know, it's like just whatever seems to fit for that particular situation. That's what I'm going with. But yeah, when it comes to figuring out the problems in my own life, yeah, it's not happening. So yeah, makes sense. Girls' bathroom. Paradisical. Boys' bathroom. The other place. Yeah, that's pretty accurate too. I mean, the thing is that for most feminine mentality, cleanliness is by far the most important thing. For most masculine mentalities, and I'm not saying all, of course there are exceptions to every rule, but for most masculine mentality, somebody else can do it. I mean, it's not up to me to clean up somebody else's mess. Like, I'm not looking at it and getting all disturbed because somebody wrote all over the walls or left disgusting stuff all over the bathroom. I mean, if I'm going into a public bathroom, that's kind of what's expected. That moment you accidentally wander into a high-level zone. Yeah, Kalid. Not ring any bells? Kalid? Where you just kind of wander over and you get bodied by literally every blade of grass in the level? You sit there, are minding your own business, and suddenly the crows come down? My goodness. What is it with games and allowing you to go into high-level zones, okay? You know, there should at least be a warning when you enter into a zone. It's like, Kalid, this should be for people who are level 312. It's like, not for your little punk 12 or level 12 character, okay? Go back and level up and go the right direction this time. There's like this castle in a magic bubble on the ocean floor. I went there in my talking dragon boat. Yeah, that does seem kind of like a little bit out there. I have to agree. Like the devs of this game, don't get me wrong, okay? You know, Wind Waker is a fantastic Zelda game. After I got over the initial like cell shaded graphics and all that stuff, the game itself, solid gameplay, fantastic. But the storyline got a little bit out there. I gotta say, a little bit weird. I mean, yeah, talking boats, large dragons with hooks for tails that you grapple onto. You're throwing this like grappling hook on a rope and all that. Yeah, no, that's just a little bit more, a little bit less fantastical would be fine. When you wake up before anyone else in the house and play video games alone for a few hours. This is the best feeling, isn't it? When you're just alone and you have all the time and you're just sitting there and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to play a video game and nobody's going to bother me and nobody's going to come in and have all sorts of things to demand of me. I'm not going to be hearing all sorts of noises out in the hallway. I'm not going to be called away to do this, that, or the other thing. Nope, I can just sit here and play my games and just forget the rest of the world for at least 30 seconds. You know, and then of course, you know, everyone else wakes up and you have to sit there and face reality for the rest of the day. But it is a fantastic feeling when you don't have to sit there and worry about the noise from everyone around you when you're trying to play a video game. Granted, some of my video games are a little bit louder than much of the noise that I complain about, but that's noise that I've accepted into my life. The other one is noise in which I just kind of have to deal with. Me. I've mastered a safe pattern for this boss and just need one more cycle to win. Inner me. Do an extra attack in this cycle. You died. Oh my goodness, this happened to me so many times. So many times. I don't know why. It's just, you feel like if I can get in that extra attack, that gets me safe for the next series of attacks so that I can definitely get him gone. And that, like, I don't know what the mentality is in this, but you absolutely go for that other cycle every single time. You go for that extra attack every single time. Eventually you get good enough to avoid their counterattacks. But my goodness, every single time. Every time in which you want to take just that little bit of extra risk. Like, nope, that was the wrong answer. The mobile game in the ad. The mobile game you installed. Yeah, why is it like that? I mean, mobile game ads themselves are terrible. Like, honestly, you can't ever trust a mobile game ad. They'll sit there and they'll present this stupid little situation and like, oh, can you win this? I'm sure that only 1% of the population can win this. And then you install it, and it is nothing like what you were playing in their ad. Nothing at all. Most annoying thing, especially because false advertising is illegal. Why doesn't the government sit there and crack down on this false advertisement scheme from mobile ad companies? Because who cares? They're video games. Well, I care, alright? Video games are my life. So when I get mobile ads that are sitting there, false advertising, that affects my ability to do anything with them. Okay? So yeah, they do lose money, especially for the people who are involved in it. So mobile game ads, let me tell you this, any developer that makes mobile game ads, If you engage in this type of chicanery, all right, I uninstall your app so fast. I won't even play a minute of it because of the treachery here. Okay, so don't do stuff like this. All right, just installing the app is often not enough. A lot of times you have to play it for quite a while. Don't do stuff like this. Advertise your game, and if people like it, they'll play it. And if not, then forget it. Do something better. Goodness. Play for 3 hours. Like new guns less than the ones you started with. Well, that is also true. Okay, that is something that you just kind of have to deal with when it comes to video games, is the fact that you kind of get attached to these beginning weapons. And sometimes the beginning weapons will carry you through the whole game. And then if you change them, then you have to sit there and learn the new move set, learn the new timings, learn all this other stuff. It was a terrible thing inside Dark Souls. I sat there and I found these really cool weapons that would be awesome to use, but there is no way in the middle of a playthrough that I'm going to be able to use them simply because I am so used to the moveset with the weapons that I have. I'm used to the timing, I'm used to the dodging, I'm used to well, I've never got used to parrying, but you get attached to those first few weapons. And I love those video games where those first weapons that you get can last you through the whole playthrough. And then if you want to go through again with a different weapon, then you can. Just remember, skip the cutscenes, okay? Don't force me to watch cutscenes multiple times, right? Going back to the beginning here. Stop it. If you like open world games so much, then why don't you try going outside? Okay, you know what? Relax. What I do in my free time is none of your business. Okay? It's a whole bunch of none ya. Right? And why don't I try going outside? Because outside is boring. Alright? We play these open world games because they are not boring like real life. You go outside, touch grass every once in a while, you know, get the fresh air, do something fun outside, maybe like once a month, and then the rest of the time, you can play these open world games. I don't understand the reason why people have such trouble allowing gamers to just play their video games. Alright? And we want to be sickly and obese and not have any sort of social interaction at all, then let us be little hobgoblins in our huts. Okay? We don't need to go out there and socialize with you guys. You're not going to want to socialize with us anyway because we're socially awkward. We'll say the weirdest things at the weirdest times, and we have a very twisted and like disgusting sense of humor. Okay? Very, very twisted. Playing lots of video games gives you a very sick and twisted sense of humor. So, yeah, just leave us alone. Okay? Okay, you see, this is exactly what I'm saying. Beautiful day outside, play video games with the windows open. Yeah, obviously. That's what I do. Whenever there's a nice day outside, it's nice and warm, of course, I'm going to play video games with the windows open. But don't expect me to go outside and socialize. Alright? I don't like socializing. People are annoying. And to have to deal with them for more than the absolute maximum amount of time that is necessary to deal with them in a day is too much for people like me to handle. Okay? So we're going to be inside. We're not going to bother anybody. We're going to play our video games, and you guys can leave us alone. Bowser kidnaps girlfriend multiple times. Still invites him go-karting. Yeah, I mean, that Mario. He's such a good guy. I mean, the stomping on turtles and Goombas, you know, all of that is forgiven by the fact that, you know, he invites Bowser go-karting. Like, let's forget the thousands upon thousands of Bowser subjects that he kills in a single run through. Like, yeah, he invites him go-karting and to Super Smash Bros. Brawl and all this stuff. That Mario, such a great guy. No, I'm just kidding. I love Mario. Like, the Mario games, of course. Everyone starts on a Mario game. Mine was Yoshi's Island, so Yoshi has a special place in my heart. But, yeah, no. Mario, always the hero, saving Princess Peach from disaster. Ocarina of Time. Nintendo says E for everyone. The poor 7-year-olds who played this game say otherwise. Yeah, this thing was freaky. I don't even remember what this thing was called. I remember it was inside the purple dungeon. The psychic dungeon, whatever you want to call it. The one that was like at the bottom of the well or inside the graveyard, wherever that was. But it's like, oh man, it's been a long time since I played Ocarina of Time. Yeah, this thing will absolutely traumatize you for life. You see this thing coming at you and that's it. You know, you have nightmares of whatever that is for the rest of your life. It haunts your sleep. It haunts your every waking moment. You're always looking behind you, looking for those hands that come out from the ceiling, and this guy just trotting along behind you. Luckily, he was pretty easy. He was pretty easy to defeat, but oh my goodness, yeah, the horror, the absolute fear that came over me when I first saw this guy, yeah, I didn't sleep alone for like months after that. Video games cause violence. Me taking care of my fields. That's true. There are non-violent video games, and if you actually look at the data, there has been never any definitive link between violent video games and actual violence. I think that video games, especially violent video games, in the certain hands, absolutely can cause somebody to think more on violence than they normally would. But for most of us, we view things like violent video games or video games that have certain amounts of violence as more or less a vent. Like, you can sit there and you can destroy in Elden Ring, especially, like you're sitting there destroying all sorts of things inside the lands between. And yeah, it could be considered violent and somewhat graphic. Like, it's got some really weird stuff in there. But yeah, no, video games don't cause violence. As somebody who has played video games throughout my entire life, and many of them violent, and yet never once succumbed to the desire to actually hurt somebody or injure somebody. In fact, when I play video games, I don't like being the bad guy. I don't like hurting people. I don't like playing in ways that hurt people, even NPCs. So yeah, it's more an indication of your particular personality. If you play, or if you're a violent person, you're probably going to play violent video games more than not. But if you're a normal person, you're going to play violent video games just because they're fun. They're fun to play. There's a fun little distraction. It's not going to be your calling card, your raison d'etre. You know, it's just there. So just don't worry about it. Over 98,000 souls in your possession. Lose all of them because you fell off a cliff. Gravity. Okay? Gravity is by far the hardest, most difficult boss in FromSoft games. And any of the Dark Souls, you will die the most times to gravity, to just falling off cliffs, falling off edges, being pushed off edges, falling to your death in some weird cavern, some pit that you didn't realize had no bottom, to be falling into pits that you were shoved into by bosses. It doesn't really matter. You're going to fall out off a cliff, and you're going to lose all of those souls. And that, you know, is kind of the point of the game. You know, you lose your souls, and then you learn, and then you go and you gather up the souls again, and then you learn and you gather them up again, and then you learn, and then eventually you stop dying to that stupid place. And in the end, you don't need all that many. I mean, there are people who beat these games on soul level 1, so you're not really missing much by not having tons and tons of souls. But if it is something that worries you, play it safe. Go in and farm some souls in an area for a little bit, and then quickly run back to your bonfire. It's just one of those things. You gotta not worry about it. You worry about stuff like that, the game becomes not fun. I did it to save my friends. I did it to save my sister. I did it to save the girl I love. I did it because a tree told me to do it. I just woke up and apparently I have to do something. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. And this is something that you'll hear if you ever watch my Let's Play of the Legend of Zelda games and whatnot. Because the other Legend of Zelda games have a very distinct formula that was very enjoyable, very fun, And then you get thrown into Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild is a great game on its own. Like, it is a great game. Don't think that I'm harping on Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. They're great games on their own. Not as Zelda games. Okay? Link and Zelda and all that, you know, there's been this formula since the beginning. And you want to change the formula? Great. Change the formula. But do it with original characters, you know, change it all up. You don't need to completely redo Link and Zelda. You can have original characters set within the universe, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's just one of those things that it's like you altered the fundamental structure of the Legend of Zelda games, and not everyone's a fan of it. I mean, I'm not really a fan of it. I like the games, and I play the games, and I beat the games, but I don't like the Breath of the Wild change up there. So that's, I mean, just a personal opinion and all that. So, but anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you throughout the week on my Let's Plays and other videos. I want to do a few more of these things, so if you like it, please make sure to subscribe so that you can always stay up to date on the things that are going on this channel. We'll see you later.